Hello, Beepball world. Welcome back to the Beepball Blues Show. I am Neil Nick, Hitters of Heroes. This week, this show is all about the Hitters and Heroes tournament that just was completed earlier today. Today being September the 13th. I thought early how crazy it is that today is the first day of the NFL and the last day of any official beat baseball. Well, I guess there's going to be one more game. We'll talk about that later on. There'll be one more game later, but the majority of beat ball ended on the same day that the NFL was starting. The tournament that we've been mentioning, the Hitters and Heroes tournament, wasn't just played so that the four teams that wanted to be involved could have a beat baseball tournament to be part of, but it also was played, today being September 13th. 2 days ago marked 19 years since the attack on the four hijacked airplanes that started all the chaos that went on 9/11. So the tournament was being played in memory of those that were lost through the 9/11 attacks, but it also is being played to honor those who are still out there now fighting on the front lines. And I am going to bring in to talk more about that the tournament, I believe the tournament coordinator, Liaa Michaels from the Indy Edge. Liaa, thanks for joining us. I'm not sure if it's my phone or your phone, but something is kind of popping in and out a little bit.
I think it's yours.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Hopefully it will stop. I brought you a little bit closer to the iPad. Hopefully that will work. But Liaa, let's first, before we're going to recap the tournament and talk about how the games turned out, and I've got to get the MVPs from you and all that good stuff. But first, I'd like to cover the heroes part of this. The tournament was sponsored by the Rehabilitation Hospital of Indiana, which has been a long supporter, to my knowledge, of beat baseball. Talk a little bit about getting them involved and how you ended up doing the Hitters and Heroes tournament.
Well, actually, we had talked about doing something right around the time that the World Series was canceled, and we actually took. I know I'm getting a lot of backfeed noises. Let me see if I can.
Actually, you sound really good to me. On this end, you sound really good. Okay. Yeah. So.
Actually, I talked to RHI about possibly putting on this tournament. Actually, we had some extra money in our budget, and we also wanted to make sure we could still play some extra games because with the Indy tournament that we had, we wanted to see if we could actually bring in some more teams and do it again later. What we would consider the end of the season, to try to keep Beepball rolling just a little bit later. So they were really receptive.
No, it seems, because that's the hospital that used to sponsor the RHI Extreme, right? That's where the name RHI.
Right. We've been with RHI for probably around 12 years, between at least when we started out. The Thunder. We originally were with Thunder, okay, and they were part of RHI. And then when we broke off, we actually started the Extreme underneath RHI, and then we turned into the Edge under RHI. They've supported us for a long time.
I want to give that hospital props just because it's a trauma hospital, and
right,
not all areas have trauma hospitals. And man, do they make a difference, because when we're talking traumas, we're talking head injuries, spinal injuries, people having strokes, aneurysms, things that are time sensitive.
Right.
And if you don't have literally having a trauma center close to you or not could be the difference between surviving and not surviving. So.
Yeah, they've been really, really great in not only supporting beat baseball, but they have numerous other sports that they support: wheelchair basketball, paraplegic fencing. They've got the sled hockey team and the regular hockey team that are also for the blind and visually impaired. So they do quite a few different sports too. So we are very fortunate to be part of the RHI sports program.
And along those lines, if you're prepared for, I would like to do the award stuff a little bit separate because aside of the players, you have set some awards aside for those involved. I know you have an award going to Bosma, and I've heard Bosma BOSMA mentioned on the live streams that DB and is her name Megan Parker?
Yep, Megan, right.
That they did, which were very enjoyable, by the way. But I don't know what Bosma is, so tell us about this award and who Bosma is.
Okay, Bosma. I'm pretty sure you know my brother-in-law James Michaels, but
yes.
He is one of the Edge players that has worked at Bosma for a very long time, and they actually help with people who become visually impaired or blind, and helping them learn rehabilitation skills, helping them find jobs. They have a really good program for vendors to help them learn the vending program. They teach Braille. They do a lot of different things for people who have become recently blind or visually impaired. And we actually have several people on our team that have either been through the vendor program or been through the rehabilitation portion of Bosma or even work at Bosma. So we have quite a plethora of Bosma connections as well.
Yeah, obviously a very big component to the blind community there.
They are.
So tell us about the award that they're receiving.
We've always had Bosma as one of our sponsors since we've been the Edge, and for the awards that we offered, actually, unfortunately, their CEO was not able to attend, so Paige will be giving that to him tomorrow at work, I do believe. But okay. It was a thank you for not only supporting our team yet again this year, but also for what they do for the blind and visually impaired community, not only here in Indiana, but also what they start that turns around and becomes even greater around the country. And they're instrumental in being leaders in the field.
Awesome. Well, good. Good for you guys to not forget about it. To give them
they've been big supporters of us.
Awesome. And there's also a local TV anchor that is getting some special recognition.
Yes, he was actually a little late showing up because his son actually was heading back to school and he got a flat tire on the interstate, so he was a little slow getting in, but he did arrive. That's Rafael Sanchez with our local station here, RTV6.
Oh, wow. Cool.
RTV6, and it is our local affiliate here in Indianapolis.
So I don't think you meant, I get sometimes like what we've talked about ahead of time and what I've talked about on the show mixed up. I don't think you mentioned it yet. You mentioned that this TV anchor has done a series of special reports during.
Did.
Could you talk a little more about that?
Sure. Actually, I had asked him that day. He was doing a Hometown Heroes series where he was honoring heroes from all around the Indianapolis viewing area, north up to, I believe, Kokomo, and down south, like Columbus, maybe even a little bit further south.
Right.
And what they were actually doing is asking people from their local communities who have been on the front lines, who have been battling through COVID, who have been helping their neighbors, who have been working in grocery stores, etc., to nominate people to call Hometown Heroes. And he was on day 147 on Saturday.
Wow.
They've been doing this every day. He puts something out on Facebook, and he tells a little bit about the person, what they do, and how they're giving back to their community by working basically as a frontline worker through COVID.
I think that's really cool because I know like through, while the pandemic's been going on, things have been so different, and especially for people who are in charge of putting stuff out on like TV and radio and stuff, it's like they're, especially in TV and news, there's so little to work with as far as like things being different. Every day
Right.
the virus, it has something, whatever. But because people are kind of being held back a little bit, there just simply isn't a lot of news to report. And I like that a lot of local media people have been finding unique ways to fill in the time, and
Yeah,
I like
been
that one
good about
particular.
that.
Yeah, I like that one particularly. Yeah, that's special. That's cool.
Yes, it sure was, and he said it's been very well received, and he's met a lot of really neat people and made a lot of really new friends that he didn't even know. Like he was telling me some certain people in hospitals that he didn't even know did certain things, and how rigorous their jobs were for like the sanitization crew, and just what they're going through. He said it's just been remarkable for him to learn what has actually impacted the day-to-day normalcy in especially like hospitals and on the ambulances and stuff like that, things that they had never had to do before.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's very cool. Before we move on, there's a part before we move on to recapping the tournament itself.
Uh-huh.
You'd mentioned unique awards, and I wasn't sure if that goes in here or if you want to save that for like the MVPs, like and put it in with that stuff.
Oh, I can put now. It's fine.
Okay.
We did some. I wanted to recognize not only some special volunteers that really helped me um, with the tournament. I gave some volunteer bronze pins to some volunteers that I really got a lot of help from, not only over the season but also for the tournament. And then we gave away an award for the biggest hitter, which
Right.
I that was more of a my call type award, but I watched the games because I was kind of on the sidelines, at least for the first, I would say game and maybe 3 innings, watching what was going on before I actually took the field. But I was kind of watching what was going on, and so I wanted to take the hit that I thought was like the most impressive.
Oh, I
And
got you.
that was our biggest hitter award.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I wasn't taking it as an individual thing. I was more thinking of it like the biggest, your opinion of the biggest hitter. But you're talking about individual hit, biggest. Okay, all right.
Yep, I did that one, and that one actually went to Corian White because he had hit a ball when I was in the field that was so incredibly high. I called the number wrong, and he hit the base before it was even at the ground.
Yeah, it's scary how young he is because he's really developing into a
He
good,
is.
like not just a good hitter, but he's really coming along defensively also.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
So, well,
And also,
good for
we
him.
gave Aaron C out. We had quite a few rookies on our team and a couple rookies on one of the other teams from the Comets, and watched those. And we gave away a rookie of the tournament, which we gave to Aaron C.
I hope so. That guy was crushing the ball.
He's crazy.
That's my dude. I like that guy. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
I like that guy. So good for him.
Yeah, and then of course we gave some awards out to just and it was more we gave some buntini cakes that were 24 specialized little cakes here from a local bakery to the police and firemen that showed up for our tournament. So they really appreciated that. So
You're talking
and
about.
well, and also we had one of our two veterans we had as well on our team, which is Pat Thomas and Brian Christian. We also presented them with veteran awards and for sponsorship of not only Beat Baseball being part of our team and just being committed to their and to Beat Baseball. So we gave away some different kind of awards and some different kind of recognitions.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. All right, let's run down all. I was going to run down the games, and we'll chat them up a little bit, and then I'll let you have your evening back. I'm guessing it's been a very long week for you, getting ready for this whole thing.
Luckily, I took the week off, but you are absolutely correct.
Yeah, no, I know how organizing these kind of things. It's a nonstop thing until it's over, and even then, and even then, you still got work to do sometimes. So, for the audience, there were 4 teams there. The 4 teams that were involved were both of the teams from Indianapolis, the Thunder and the Edge, the host. The Indy Edge were the host. The other teams involved were from Illinois, the Chicago Comets, and the Atlanta Chaos coming over. A lot of you who follow the show are familiar with them. They had a few of them just on last week talking about their project. So the Chaos got out there for the first time. The first day of the tournament, the 4 teams just basically played a round robin, which means they all played each other one time. So being that it's the same teams, whatever, I didn't write down scores. I'll just go give you a quick rundown that in the first round of the games, Saturday morning, the Thunder defeated the Comets and the Edge defeated the Chaos. And then in the second round of games, the Edge defeated the Comets and the Thunder defeated the Chaos. And in the last round on Saturday, the afternoon games, the Thunder defeated the Edge. They were the 2 undefeated teams, so that after the round robin left the Thunder as the number 1 team and the Edge as the number 2 team. But in the other game, the Chaos and the Comets, that will give the score there because the Chaos defeated the Comets 13-12, beating them in the last at bat of the game to get the first ever win for the Atlanta Chaos. What do you think about the Chaos getting to see them for the first time, Leah?
That was really cool. We could hear them on the other field. They were very excited.
Oh, I bet. I can imagine.
I don't know how the Comets felt about that, but the Chaos were extremely excited.
Well, once I realized that the Comets, they didn't have their full roster there, and they were trying out some newer players or whatever. They had players going I wasn't familiar with too much or whatever. So I mean, in some ways they're kind of on the same level because the Chaos is a mix of experienced and new players. So I kind of put them on the same playing field or whatever. But I'm sure that was very exciting for the Chaos.
It was, and Rob Wygant's son Nathan pitched for the Comets, and he did a great job. He's a really good up and coming pitcher. If he sticks with it, he's going to be really good.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't realize that was the case until like Saturday morning when they were playing the Thunder, and I played against Rob Wygant. I consider myself friend. I don't know Rob as well as I did Gina because Gina and I used to work together on the board and on the tournament committee at times. So I knew Gina better, but I know this kid's parents. I played against his dad, and I love Beepball families. Your son pitches. You know what I mean? James and Steve are Beepball family. I love Beepball families, and I've always been envious of them. So seeing Nathan out there all of a sudden pitching, it's like, oh man, here comes another one. So I loved it.
It's wild because I can remember when I first started dating Steve, and then when we first got married, I can remember him being such a little kid. He was just a little tyke, and it's amazing how they grow up so fast.
Well, for me too, because Bam Bam's my closest friend, and his kids are like Landry, my niece, and the other boys are my nephews. And Trajan and Nathan were born around the same time, so I don't really know Nathan, but I remember them being born around the same time. And with Trajan, like I had some like a little bit of pride in the fact that like Nathan's out there pitching, Trajan's been pitching for the last year or two, so. I love it.
Yeah, it's great to see the next generation making their way into the league, and I think that's really important because that's one of the things that is going to keep this league alive for the next 20 years, providing we have balls. But but there is a lot of, like you said, families, and that's I think the nuts and bolts to keeping the league as strong as it is.
I hope so. It's always been part of the beat baseball fabric.
Absolutely.
I love that it just keeps continuing on and on. So going to today's games, Sunday's games. That we pretty much just had for the audience. We pretty much had a repeat of the afternoon games on Saturday as far as who played who, because the round robin left us with the teams that played each other in the afternoon, third and fourth, and the two indie teams, first and second. So, I never heard the score of today's game between the Chaos and the Comets. Who ended up taking third?
I do believe the Comets won. We ended up, I think they were just a point apart again. I think, they went into extra innings, and we were pushing close to noon before they got done. So wow. I think they returned the
favor. They really had a couple of close battles.
They did.
And then, of course, I have to report it, but I feel bad since you've been such a great host and you're on here. But the Thunder did manage to defeat the Edge in the championship game.
They did. But we were really happy with what we did yesterday, and coming back from the 12-run rule and taking it to only 2 points. I mean, that's 3 points. Kyle said 3 points, but it's a good starting point for us for moving into the 2021 season.
Yeah. Your dog agrees.
Sorry.
No,
you got us again.
I love it. I love it. Now, I mean, you guys, I think are talent-wise, putting it on paper, you guys, it's easy for me to put your two teams side by side. Where they have a big advantage is that same group has been together, for 4 years, whereas you guys are still, Nick Mulheron, who's great, just came in a couple years ago, and now you're adding Aaron C. in there, and you're bringing other people like Joe Fleeks and Ja'Cory, a couple of guys that I really enjoyed getting to know right here on this show. So it's going to take you guys a minute to throw those pieces together.
Exactly. And we still didn't have Ethan, and Nick came in kind of late into the tournament, and we also have Richie Kretzel who wasn't there today or this weekend. So we're looking forward to having all the pieces together.
No team is going to defeat that offense without having an elite defense, and it's just going to be hard. It would have been hard for you guys to be at an elite level at this point because the group just doesn't have the field time together yet. So
right. Well, we're looking forward to it, and adding like I said, Ja'Cory and Joe this year, and also just recently Mike. I mean, we're gonna work hard because we know we've got a lot of stuff to work on, but it was a good indicator of the things that are really awesome yet to come, and that's what we're really hoping for, is for a really good 2020.
No, definitely. I mean, I've been there, and I'm envious of the fun you guys have in front of you. You've got a great group of players that, if they stick together over the next few years, who knows what you can accomplish. So
absolutely.
And I know,
and they're just as good of a quality group of individuals as they are athletes. We couldn't be more proud of our team.
I mean, through the show, obviously, but I've been getting to know quite a few, and I've enjoyed all of them. It's been fun. It'll be sad when things slow down a little bit. I'm gonna keep doing the show and keep looking for stuff, but things are go slow. Even though it's a slow year already, things are gonna get really slow. Before we wrap it up, I would like you to talk about the championship trophy, because you with the hitters and heroes theme, you went all heroes theme with the trophy. So tell the audience about the championship trophy the Thunder received.
Yeah, the championship trophy was a 12.5-inch, what they call a bust. It was all copper bust, which it was an eagle head on the top, with a red, white, and blue flag draped over its back, on a cherry wood platform, and it said "Hitters and Heroes Champion 20." I think I had 2020 on it, but it was a pretty nice trophy, and it was rather heavy.
No, it sounds. I imagined. I didn't expect. I wasn't thinking heavy until you threw in the cherry wood base. Like, wow,
Yeah, and
that's a
it was
piece of
all
work.
copper. The head's all like a copper penny almost type color.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Sounds
Yeah.
awesome. And the brief description you gave me of the MVP trophies sounded extremely cool too. So both, if you could tell us who ended up with the MVP trophies,
Sure.
and what they look like also.
Yep, we had well, actually an MVP for both the offense and defense,
Okay.
and they also not only got a trophy, but they also had a medal. So they got a medal. Both of the trophies said offense and defensive award, hitters and heroes tournament. They were acrylic and a crystal mix, and they were probably about 7.5 inches tall, and they were red, white, and blue flag kind of flying in the wind on the bottom, and they were engraved on the top with all the hitters and heroes MVP information on the top. And it was kind of funny because the winners of the two, we had on the offensive side, we had Kyle Lewis.
Oh, cool. Nice job,
And
Kyle.
Yep, and on the defensive side, we had, as we call him, number seven, Eric Rodriguez. And Eric's like, man, this is cool. And he's like, I can even see this kind of. He's really excited. So I was kind of happy because it had the red, white, and blue flag on there. So it kind of brought it out so they could kind of see the trophy too. So they got the trophy and they got a medal.
Sounds very cool. I honestly, I wouldn't have been shocked if you told me Eric took it on both sides. I'm waiting to catch a game that he doesn't play well in. Like he just never seems to have a bad game.
Yeah.
On either side of the ball, he crushes the ball.
He's money.
He struck out against you guys earlier today, and I believe that's the first time I've ever witnessed him striking. Now, I know he's done it before, but it's not often you get that gift. So,
yeah, exactly.
No, I got props to him. Props to he and Kyle for winning those two awards. But as far as just best all around player for the year, I mean, I don't think anybody did anything to disprove the fact that it's still Eric Rodriguez at this point as far as best all around player, in my opinion, anyway.
Yep, I would agree.
He just always bringing it.
Yep.
Before we wrap this up, would you like to talk about the T-shirts? Do you still have some for sale? We talked about.
Yes, we sure do. We actually have all sizes from larges up to, I believe I have up to a 3X, and they are the hitters and heroes white shirts with the red and blue lettering on them, just to kind of explain what they look like. The front has 2020 RHI Indy Edge, Hitters and Heroes Weekend, September 12th through 13th, Freedom Park, Richmond, Indiana. And at the top of the 2020, you've got a batter with an American flag on the other side. The RHI Indy Edge is in the blue. There's Hitters and Heroes Weekend in red, and it's being surrounded by fireworks. And then the September 12th through 13th, Freedom Park is in blue. And then on the back, it's also the red and blue. And there is, it says featuring the Atlanta Chaos, Chicago Comets, Indy Edge, and Indy Thunder. And there is the Lifeline heart on one side with a pair of cleats hanging off the other.
Wow.
And this is between a home plate. And then it says 9/11, never forget, always remember, and forever honor our heroes. And then it does say thank you to all of our sponsors, as well as their servicemen and heroes, veterans, frontline workers, our first responders, doctors, and all of our heroes nationwide.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so it's a red, white, and blue T-shirt.
There is literally nothing you left off of that.
I put a lot on it. And it was kind of something that I wanted to make sure that we could also not only have it for our folks as volunteers and for teammates, but also something I could give out to the police and firemen and Raphael as they showed up.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to wearing mine on the show at some point since
Yes.
I've already placed my
$12 is
order.
what we'll charge. That includes cost as well as your shipping. And all I need to know is your address, and you can send me either a voicemail or a text, or shoot me something on Messenger, and I will get them out.
I just want to repeat the beginning of that because I talked over you a little bit. But
Sorry.
the shirt. No, that was my bad. You were doing your job, and I talked over you. The shirts are $12, and that includes shipping. That was the part I talked over.
That is correct.
And that's an important part. I'm blown away by how fancy they are, and you like how much stuff is on there, and that you could ship them for that cost. So. That's very awesome. Thank you for that. And everybody heard her. If you're interested, they got all sizes. So reach out to her and figure it out, and you will have a shirt also.
Right. And I just wanted to mention, probably we're hoping that all goes well for October 10th, but that will be the Thunder and Edge year-end community service project that we always do to give back into our community. And I don't know if you planned on asking me any questions about that, but
I'm glad I did. I didn't put it in my notes. I had forgotten to write it in my original notes. I'm glad you brought that up because that also is something you do in recognition of women of abused environments or something. Is that correct?
Well, actually, it started out as the Wheeler Mission because we have a very big homeless population here in Indianapolis. We wanted to help. These are actually men that go to the Wheeler Mission for help. And one of our watchers and supporters of Beat Baseball, actually, he is one of his stories is that he used to be someone who attended the mission, and he's now running it, and that's really awesome. And we believe very much in giving back. The Edge has always been about thank you for helping us, and we are going to give back to the community. And so we started that a couple years ago and asked Darnell if he would want to join us. So we did that the first year, and the second year with Johnny Walker's daughter.
I was I didn't want to, but I was just thinking I should bring that up because I remember when Johnny Walker lost his daughter to an abusive situation, that your team and the Thunder jumped right in and wanted to do something to give to the situation.
Yeah,
to make
absolutely.
It better.
And asked Johnny for his blessing before we did, but not only have we added the Coburn House, which is a safe haven for women to get out in community, but also to bring their children and their pets with them. Questions asked, if they have room, they take them, and it's just it was not only a good way to give back to Johnny, but also to the community, as well as raising awareness to something that is very dear to our hearts because of the Beepball community.
Yeah, and it's just something that's gone on so far past way too long. That any recognition, any support to stop it's good wherever it comes from, any kind. So good for you guys.
And we actually have I won't name names. We have someone on our team that actually is a very active member in giving back and helping as a volunteer for the Coburn House. So not only has that morphed, it's morphed into somebody personally doing something even above and beyond, which is always great.
Right. Well, good for all of you. Good for all. Thumbs up to all of you. And
it's October 10th. We'll be doing that, and we will have that streaming.
Yeah, and that's why when you asked if I intended to, because I had mentioned at the beginning of the show when I started to say today is the last official day of Beepball, that's where I held
you were tricky.
That's where I held myself up. We do have one more game ahead of us that's planned on October 10th, so second weekend of October. So we got a little bit more ball to look forward to, and again, it's going to be done on behalf of Good Things. So
absolutely.
So awesome. Liaa, thank you so much. I'm proud of myself that I made it through the show without calling you Liaa, because both my phone and my computer.
I know everybody's phone calls me that. And
all right.
It's totally okay because everyone's phone that has an Apple phone as an iPhone calls me the same thing.
Well, my computer does the same. My Windows 10 machine does the same thing. So you've been Liaa Michaels to me forever. But,
you can tell her to say it right, and she still messes it up. So
oh, okay. See, I was gonna throw myself under the bus because these devices do have ways that you're supposed to be able to correct it to say it right. And even though I've been using these devices,
she calls me that.
Even though I've been using these devices forever, I've never once gotten into the figuring out how to change how it says anything. So you telling me that
it doesn't work for my name.
Oh, okay. So I got nothing to worry about. I'm just gonna live with Liaa. Liaa. What? See, when I'm saying it, I don't know which one's right or wrong sometimes. Well, very cool. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming on.
For having me on.
You bet. It was my pleasure. And to everybody else, I plan to have Isaiah Wilcox on next week, who's a really good defensive player. Get him on, talk about what he did to become such a good player. That's what I hope to pull off, and if that doesn't work, we'll just do something else. So we will see you next week.